Howdy y'all, thank you for joining me today for this unboxing of a game I just got in that I'm so excited to try out. The Marvel Champions, the card game. This is the Next Evolution expansion. This actually is not releasing and available at retail till August the 18th. I'm anxious to sit here and play it and give you a look at it. That way when the 18th swings around, if you want to get a chance to buy it, we should have some available. Or go check one of your local game stores or retailers. But if this is the first time checking it out, what this typically is this is typically a scenario box where it comes with 2 pre-made decks with new characters. So that's why I'm always excited to see the new characters. Not only that, but these 2 characters are 2 characters I like a lot, Domino and Cable. And everyone's calling this the Deadpool 2 box just because some of the characters in here, you know, were all in the Deadpool 2 movie, like Domino, Cable, Juggernaut, Mr. Sinister, so forth. So we're going to see what this is all about. It lets you know there's 260 cards in here. This is basically bringing the X-Force to Marvel Champions. But what this is a little scenario thing, which now I've actually gotten around to playing some of the scenarios and checking them out. So this is a cool way to play through the game and continuing story, usually 5 scenarios long, and see how you do. And this one's going to introduce the X-Force. Now the interesting thing to see, well, I can be talking about this while we're opening it up, but the interesting thing to see is typically when they release these, or when they release hero packs with 2 characters at the same time, usually there's one character I'm looking forward to playing and one I'm like meh on. And typically the character I'm looking forward to, I enjoy still playing. I've enjoyed every character I've played in this for the most part. But typically the one I was looking forward to just ends up being a little bit more not as fun. And the one I wasn't looking forward to ends up being the more fun character. I don't know if that's just a mental thing that's going on with me or what. Now, the weird thing in this one is, I mean, if you were to make me choose, I would say Cable's who I'm looking forward to. But I like both of these characters. And I have no clue what these characters do, so this is going to be an introduction to me just as much to you if this is your first time to see these characters. So, right off the bat, we got the book. And I'm not going to go through every page in this because I'm just going to show you the rules here. Like, it opens up, it lets you know, like, if there's any new rules here, which right off the bat we can see here, player side scheme. It's a new card type, so you're going to be able to put side schemes into play. It seems interesting. A new component. Oh, and before I see these, I always usually make a guess. Cable, Domino. What do I think their aspects would be? I mean, without looking, I'm assuming, like, Domino's kind of an easy guess. I'm thinking Domino should be Justice, I would assume. Well, I don't know. The word Justice doesn't come to her, but just the way the Justice deck plays, I would think Domino would be Justice. Cable, maybe Leadership or Aggression. I would think more Leadership. But I just don't really see him as the leader. I guess he is the leader to an extent, so maybe that's why they put him Leadership. I don't know. We shall see, but that's what we're looking at here. And then they got some more rules here. Featured keywords. And I'll come in on those so that you can stop and pause if you want and read any new keywords that you don't recognize. That way you can see new stuff they might be adding into this. And then they have Hope Summers, which would make sense. If you're going with the whole X-Force, how Cable was introduced and whatnot, Hope Summers makes sense. Then we have campaign mode rules. And like I said, I'll show the first one, but we're not going to go any further on that. Just because scenario 1, it says Morlock Siege, and it's got a little story typically. Then it tells you how to set up the scenario and how you're going to play and what happens if you win and what you gain. So I'm not going to go through any of this. That way I don't spoil anything. But for the most part, you'd be keeping track of it on this sheet that's here on the back. And, well, I was about to flip and just see if it's 5 scenarios. It only says scenario, well, yeah, that makes sense. what happened in scenario 4, because you would only need to know, and then you'd go to 5. So I'm assuming 5 scenarios. And yep, so I kind of guessed right. Or actually I did. Justice, Domino, Leadership, Cable. I kind of figured. I just couldn't think of Justice. This doesn't sound like Domino, but the play style of Justice definitely fits her. And then I figured because he was the leader, but then I thought maybe they went with more of the aggression and he could flip around and do stuff. And then I'll edit it out, but then I'm just going to let you know if it's 5 scenarios or not. And yeah, it's 5 scenarios, so typical scenarios if you've been through them in these. Alright, other than that, we're just going to have packs of cards. So we got the Cable deck, which is going to be a complete, ready-to-go deck with all of his stuff and his nemesis and whatnot. We're going to have the Domino deck. I'm actually curious to see who these nemesis are. I mean, and then we just got 3 more packs here, which are going to be the villains and whatnot. I'll get those in order and show them as the scenarios go. Okay, I went ahead and opened these up, and I was able to put them in the order by just looking at, this was the back card. It said Nasty Boys 4 to Nasty Boys 5, and then the other one said Super Strength. So this is the order, and it's probably the order that the scenario goes in, so this will be a little bit of spoiler. If you want to skip past, I'll do the decks after these, but there's probably at least going to be spoiler on the order you fight these people in. And I'm not going to read over every single card. I'll do that when it comes to the decks. If we hit new cards that I don't recognize, and I'll go over those. But if they're ones I recognize, you probably own the game, and you can always pause and read them. But all right, let's see here. We got Arclight here. This is the Marauders. It lets us know 1 of 7 in the Marauders. So we got Arclight here, side A and side B. We got Blockbuster, side A, side B. Chimera, side A and side B. And Grey Crow, and these are villains, so it means you're going to have to fight them all together. So I'm assuming it's going to be some combination thing where only one's active at the time or something. You're going to have to knock them all out. We got Grey Crow. I mean, this is 7 different ones, but I mean, I guess they did it with the Sinister 6 on 6. So we got Harpoon here. Riptide. And Vertigo. I was about to say, I was like, I didn't see Vertigo there. And Vertigo. Then we have the main scheme. A goes to B. Then we have 2A and 2B. And I didn't mention it yet, but I am going to play a playthrough with each of these decks when I do them. And it'll be the first scenario I'll go up against. So it's probably going to be, if this is in the order, it means I'm probably going to do these versus. And we'll see how it goes. Because, I mean, I did that with the X-Men one, when they came out with the X-Men one. And ever since then, all the X-Men, I've been fighting against Sabretooth, who's the first scenario there. So it'll be interesting to learn this one and see how it works there. But we just got Morlock there. Morlock. I'm assuming with these blue, it means you're going to get these Morlock allies, basically. So it's probably the Marauders attacking the Morlocks. And it just says Morlock Siege. Sorry, I should have shown that. It said Morlock Siege. It showed the scenarios, or the schemes, and then the 4. We got 19 cards to go through. These are probably going to be part of the Nemesis deck, or the enemy deck. Brain just escapes me on what it was at the moment. Then we get to military grade. These are some attachments, I'm assuming. There's 5 of those, it says. Well, 4, and then a side scheme. Then we get to Mutant Slayers, says 1 of 10. So this is probably, yeah, this is going to be the Marauders if you just want to mix them in as a side encounter so that they're helping out instead of being the villain. And this is probably going to be their side scheme. Then we got some treacheries, bound by business with them. So that probably all has to do with the first scenario, because now we're getting into, says on the run, 1 through 11. Well, maybe the Marauders, I mean, it makes sense that they're attacking, and then now you're on the run. So maybe they're the first 2. Says 6 of 11. Bushwhack there. Yeah, I know I'm going through these rather quickly. I'm trying to stop on each so that you can pause and see if it's something you want to add in. But otherwise this video is going to be super long already as it is. Like I said, we will go a little bit more in detail when we go through the characters themselves. We got the Nasty Boys. It says there's 6 cards in this thing. And then we have a new villain, the Juggernaut. 18 cards of hit for him. Man, I don't know if I'd rather just go ahead and go against Juggernaut here, or try to take on 7 Marauders if that's the way it works. I think I'd rather take on the Marauders. Because I'm assuming this is going to be a way beefier Rhino. Got his trample there. All right. Now we saw in the rules they mentioned Hope Summers, and I saw, and I think it was one of the Marauder things they mentioned about Hope. So I get a feeling it's just like with the thing, we're gonna have an ally. If you're playing through the campaign, you're gonna have an ally. You're gonna take care of Hope Summers. It says 1 of 2. So here's the Hope Summers ally you're probably gonna have to protect. It does say the first player is gonna have to control Hope. And then here's the side scheme. So then we have a side encounter. Makes sense with Juggernaut. We got Black Tom Cassidy here. Oh, let me get that back on camera. Then we have a new villain, Mr. Sinister here. Says there's 17 cards in his. Well, 17 cards, but it looks like 4 of them are main scheme cards. Oh, no, they... Oh, yeah, no, yeah. I mean, they are, but it looks like random stuff's going to be happening on which one's random, because they're like question marks on the backs of those, and then it goes to this one. But still, on the fronts, they actually number it. So that means there's not going to be very many cards in his actual deck. Genetic Mastery. Molecular Control. Alright. So that's all of Mr. Sinister's cards. And then we got Flight, it says. Flight 1 of 5. Weird. So I guess he gives himself Flight. Super Strength. So I guess you could just, if you're mixing them in with him, or if you're mixing these in as just like a little side encounter, you can make the villain able to have the powers of Flight, or you can make the villain have Super Strength, or make the villain have Telepathy. Each of these have 5 in each of them. Then we have a new villain, Strife, here. Along with his main scheme. It makes sense that Strife would be a villain in this. You know, the comics. Oh, this one is double-sided. Guess I always forget that I might need to go back through these and make sure there's not some other double-sided ones. I will do that and come back and show them to you. There's old Zero. Alright. Saw this one I showed you originally. It's got a standard and an expert mode. There was this one I probably didn't show the other side of. Hope's Captor. It says Confident. The other side shows Hope's Captor Desperate. This was an interesting one. Pretty sure I showed Juggernaut's helmet. And then Juggernaut Exposed. Alright, sorry. I just wanted to go back through those. Make sure I didn't miss showing you something. These are probably going to be a lot of little side ones. So we got Extreme Measures here. Oh, Wild Side there. Then we have Mutant Insurrection. Sorry, it does say 5 of those. I guess I should have shown that. Alright, then we get into the campaign cards. So that would be all the villains and stuff you're going to be messing with during the campaign. These actual campaign cards are probably things that you'll be able to gain, or that will be added in via the campaign when it tells you to do stuff. It says there's 17 of them. We have the Assemble the Team here. And then once you get done, Team Assembled, I'm assuming. Establish a safe house. So it sounds like you're going to be building a team. Safe house established. Gearing up. Probably geared up. Yep, geared up. Mission prep. And then probably mission prepped. Mission prepped. Practice maneuvers. Maneuvers practiced. Practiced maneuvers. Prepare defenses. Prepared defenses. So I'm wondering if you're going to get to choose which of those you want to mess with. But it does say there's 17 cards in these. You can get pouches, which is nice little basic. That gives you 2 wilds. They got 1 for each player. Pretty cool. You got the safe house here. Then we have Lady Mastermind here. Malice. Scrambler. Vanisher. Under Pressure. Overburdened. And then Hope Summers. And one interesting thing I noticed inside these, and I see it here with Hope Summers, the safe house, and the pouches, these do say basic on them. So I would assume, even though they're part of the campaign, you can play with these as cards. Like, these are like expansions. These are cards that you can just put into your decks. Now, whether you want to or not, well, let's go over those. Those would be new cards, because that's the way I saw the Venom one from the Spider-Man one and the symbiotic suit. So I would say if it's got it here, it means you could do it. So it's a basic. It's 4 cost. It's an alter ego action thing you could do. It says choose. You can heal 2 damage from your identity, or you could draw a card. Any player may trigger this ability. So basically like a... Oh, sorry, I had that off camera that whole time. Sorry. But it just says safe house. But that's a pretty interesting one, because basically at the end of the day, you're looking at... This is like another Avengers Mansion, except you can heal with it instead. And then the pouches we already kind of talked about. It's a resource card. You can have 2 wild. Of course, then again, maybe you can't put these in your deck, because, man, that'd be pretty cool to have 3 of these in your deck. And it doesn't say limit of 1. So maybe not. I'll see if it says it in the book. But we got Hope Summers here. It says Hope Summers gains each trait on your identity. As a response, after you play Hope Summers from your hand, search your deck for a superpower card and add it to your hand. She's a 4 cost, 2 thwart, 2 attack. So you're going to get about 6. So I mean, to me, that sounds like a basic card, like power-wise. So I believe these are. The only thing that worries me on this is 3. But then again, it's 2 wilds. And while that's cool, you already kind of get that with some of your other aggression and whatnot. But all right, enough talk about that. Let's get into what you really want to see. And we're going to go with Domino first. I am anxious to see what these do, so let's check out Domino. Now, Domino is more in my play style as far as justice. And like I said, what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to sleeve them up, shuffle them up. I'm going to play it exactly like this, unchanged. So whatever this deck is, that's what I'm going to play. And I'll play it against whatever the first scenario is, which we already saw was the whole Morlock thing. So we're going to see how it fares. And that gives you a chance to see how the deck. And then it's interesting for me to kind of see how it plays out. But here we go. And we probably won't go through every single one of these cards. But if I recognize there's something new, I'm going to at least read over it. All right, we have Domino here. This is her hero form. She has a 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 defense. When counting resources on cards discarded from the top of your deck, count each printed wild icon twice. So it makes you want to build into the wilds, kind of like in the vein of Nova. And I'm assuming, I guess that's the way they're going to do her luck ability, I guess, now that I think of it. I mean, I'm sure I can read her action to see. Just choose a card in your hand, swap that card with the top card of your deck. Okay, maybe not. I was thinking it's going to do something where you get extra power depending on what's on top of your deck. But this action could have something that allows you to do that. That way you can set it up. Because I'm going to assume that's the way her powers are going to kind of work. Because otherwise, why do you care if the wild resource icon counts as twice? Now, she does have 9 hit points and a hand size of 5, which is typical basic hero 101. And her alter ego, Nina Thurman. 3 recovery. As an action, choose a card in your hand, swap that card with the top card of your discard pile. Of your discard pile. So that one, did it say discard pile on the other one? No, it said top of your deck. I want to make sure I remembered right. So this one's just letting you get cards back from the discard pile as long as it's the top card. So interesting. Hit points going to be the same, of course, but her hand size is 6. So that's typical basic hero. All right, and yep, next 15 cards, if you're new to this, are going to be 15 cards that you have to play with no matter what of the 4 aspects you play with. And if you're new to this game, the nice thing is, if you buy this box or someone bought this box and they didn't take this apart yet, you can just play with this deck. It's ready to go. And there are 4 aspects. There's justice, leadership, aggression, and protection. Sorry, my brain just kind of hesitated there. Protection. And you're going to play one of those 4 aspects. Once you choose those are the cards that go into your deck that you can build with. But these 15 cards that have Domino's picture on it here have to be in every deck no matter what. So you have to have these 15 in there. And usually the first one is always an ally. There's a few that did break this, but it's usually an ally that is a new ally and unique to that person typically. So here we have a 2-cost ally with 2 hit points, 1 thwart, 1 attack. That's pretty normal of these allies. As an action, exhaust Diamondback, deal 1 damage to her, and discard the top card of your deck. Deal 1 damage to each enemy for each resource icon discarded this way. So right there, if you can get the wild, it's going to be 2 damage. So I mean, I'm assuming a lot of her cards are going to be discarding from the top of the deck. Oh, she's got another ally here. I kind of want to say this might be the first time I've seen this with 2 allies. I may be forgetting someone, but it makes sense if you know her character. Outlaw here, because we have Outlaw, 3-cost ally, 3 hit points, 1 thwart, 1 attack. She has toughness, so she's pretty beefy actually for one of these types. Well, I guess a 1, you're only getting 3. Yeah. As an interrupt, when Outlaw attacks, discard the top card of your deck. Outlaw gets +1 attack for this attack for each resource icon discarded this way. Then we get a good workout, 2-cost event, hero action attack. Deal 4 damage to an enemy and discard the top card of your deck. For each resource icon discarded this way, deal 1 additional damage to that enemy. Kind of figured this is what we were going to kind of see. We got 2 of those. Luck Be a Lady, 1-cost event. Hero action, discard the top card of your deck, count the resources on it. For each resource, count it this way. And then you got to look and see what type of resource it is. If it is an energy one, you heal 2 damage from a character. If it is a mental one, you remove 2 threat from a scheme. If it's a strength one, deal 3 damage to an enemy. And if it's wild, choose any one of the above. So that's where you want to go more into the wilds and be hitting the wilds. Right place, right time, 2-cost event. Hero action thwart. This is her thwarted 1 card, so there's probably going to be 3 of these. Remove 3 threat from a scheme and discard the top card of your deck. For each resource icon discard this way, remove an additional threat from that scheme. So only 2 of them. Jackpot. As a response, after this card is discarded from the top of your deck, shuffle it back into your deck. So you're hoping to hit this one. Hoping there's multiple. Nope, there's only 1. But, I mean, this is a 3 resource. And, man, if you hit it with that other one, and then you get to shuffle back in, or you hit it with any of the others, you're getting +3, and then get to shuffle it back in. Seems pretty good. Pip the Pug is a support, 1 cost. Alter Ego action, this is our Alter Ego card. Exhaust Pip the Pug. Put 1 Domino or Posse card from your discard pile on top of your deck. I'm assuming the Posse were her allies. Yep. Wonder if there'll be other ones that'll have Posse, but we'll see. The Painted Lady, 1 cost support. As a response, after you discard a card from the top of your deck, attach that card face down here. Maximum of 3. Alter Ego action, exhaust the Painted Lady. Add that 1 card attached here to your hand. So that lets you want to discard, just so you can put it under here so that you can draw it anyways. And it gives her another Alter Ego action card. Seems pretty cool. Domino's Pistol, 2 cost upgrade, restricted. Hero action attack, exhaust Domino's Pistol, choose an enemy and discard top card of your deck. Deal 1 damage to that enemy for each resource icon discarded this way. This attack gains range. Wonder if she's going to have 2 of them. Yep. Dual pistols. 1 cost upgrade, lucky and good. Hero interrupt, defense. When a boost card is turned face up during an attack against you, exhaust lucky and good. Cancel that card's boost icons and boost ability. Give the attacking enemy another boost card for this attack. I don't really like these that much. I mean, I get it. In those situations where you're going to lose or it's going to be a big one and you can switch it to a smaller one or something that's not going to screw you over, they can be very good. But then I guess that's part of the luck, is it could also just turn into something maybe worse if you use it the wrong time. So, I don't know. 0 cost upgrade, Lucky Break, Hero Interrupt. When you reveal an encounter card, discard Lucky Break. Cancel the effects of that card and discard it. Reveal another card from the encounter deck. Once again, like I said, I don't know how I feel about those unless they're just going to lose you the game anyways. And our last one, 2 cost upgrade. Probability Field. Interrupt. When you use a basic power, discard the top card of your deck. You get +1 to that power for the use of for each resource icon discarded this way. So she's pretty much going to get +1 all of her stats. I do like this one. At least a +1 to each of her stats of something she's doing. Whether it be thwarting, attacking, or defending, or even recovering. Yeah, because it doesn't say hero form, so even recovering. So, I do like that card. That's a pretty good one. Alright, so that should be the 15 cards that are unique to her. Now we're going to get into the Justice cards. And typically when they do these in these decks, the first card is a new ally in that aspect. And here we have Feral. In the Justice, a 4 cost ally with 3 hit points. A 2 thwart with something special. We'll see what that is here in a second. And a 2 attack. With 1 consequence star on each. After Feral thwarts, so that's why the star's there. After Feral thwarts, discard the top card of your deck. For each resource icon discard this way, deal 1 damage to the villain. Oh, nice. Wolfsbane. And these aren't saying Posse, so I think it's just her other 2. But Wolfsbane, 3 cost ally, 3 hit points. 2 thwart with something special. Probably the same thing we already saw. 1 attack. With 1 consequence star on each. Response. After Wolfsbane thwarts, name a card type, then discard the top card of your deck. If that card of the name is of the name type, you may add it to your hand. So if you use her ability where you're putting something on top and then you do thwart with Wolfsbane, then you're at least getting the draw that card right back anyways. Alright, even the odds, 2 cost event. Requirement energy, so you have to have energy in there. Hero action thwart, remove 1 threat per player from each side scheme. Deal 1 damage to the villain for each side scheme defeated this way. 3 of those. Team investigation. Oh, that's the first time I've seen something like this. It's actually saying 2 per player in the game. So team investigation, 2 per player. An alliance, the players can pay this card's cost as a group, so that means other people can help you pay for this. Hero action, remove 3 threat per player from a side scheme. So when you need to really knock out one of those side schemes, that can be pretty big. But you're also going to really pay for it. But at least they get to help you, and you get 3 of those. And we saw this is going to be a new style of card. It's going to be a side scheme, I guess, you could put into play. Take out the guards. Victory 0. When defeated, each player may discard 1 non-elite minion from play. Alright, I decided to go look up these new side schemes, see how they work. Yeah, they go into play as a side scheme. Now, you aren't limited to how many of the player ones you can have into play by your player count. But, I mean, definitely helps when you have those decks that you build that are hinged upon having extra side schemes in play. And then you end up hitting a villain that doesn't have that many side schemes. Well, now you can go ahead and plan ahead and have schemes that you can put into your deck that you could throw out there if you feel like you're not getting overwhelmed already as it is. But here's one. Yep. It's 4 per player. Threat goes on here. When defeated, each player may discard 1 non-elite minion from play, so that's pretty good. And then the thing about him, it says victory on there. And that's because that's letting you know that once this side scheme's defeated, it doesn't go to your discard pile. It's going to go removed from play. It's going to go to the victory pile, basically. So, Cool. The other interesting part is there's only one of those, so probably because they figure you don't want to have multiple of the same card anyways, maybe on the side scheme. I don't know. And I even noticed you can have them in your deck. I mean, it's 0 cost to put into play, and then it's also be just a resource. So I mean, interesting. I like it. New changes. 0 cost upgrade, Overwatch, attached to a scheme, max 1 per scheme, hero interrupt. When any amount of threat is removed from an attached scheme by a thwart, discard this card. Remove an equal amount of threat from a different scheme. I think this is an oldie. I think this is an old one. If I'm remembering wrong, I could be wrong, but I think this has already been in play before. So, all right, next we got the basic cards. The basic cards are basically... The basic cards are cards that can go in any deck no matter what your aspect is. And here we have, and it does say posse, we have a new ally here, Atlas Bear. And she is a posse. So she can be used with Domino's, that one Domino card. 3 cost ally with 3 hit points, 1 thwart, 1 attack with 1 consequence star each. As an action, exhaust Atlas Bear. Look at the top card of a player deck. If that card is an event, you may deal 1 damage to Atlas Bear to add that card to its owner's hand. So, if you play with a deck with a lot of events, that could be interesting. Another ally basic. So this is a very ally heavy deck. But it makes sense with the character. I get it. But we got White Fox here. 3 cost ally with 3 hit points. She is a posse. Trait. 1 thwart, 1 attack with 1 consequence star each. As a response, after White Fox is discarded from the top of your deck, put her into play under your control. So this one you want to hit with Domino and get her into play for free. Then we have the Posse. 2 cost event, max 1 per deck. Play only if you control at least 3 characters with the Posse trait. Hero action, heal 1 damage from each Posse character and ready them. Then we have a basic side scheme, player side scheme, superpower training, player side scheme, victory 0. When defeated, each player may search their deck and discard pile for an identity specific upgrade and put it into play. It's going to have 3 on there per player for threat. Then we have digging deep. It's a resource. As a response, have discard from the top of your deck, add it to your hand. Then we get the kind of 3 of in every deck. Just you can only have 1 of per deck, but we got energy and then it's strength and our genius and then strength. So it gives you dual resources. Sharpshooter, 2 cost upgrade, max 1 per player, hero interrupt. When you make a ranged attack, discard the top card of your deck. This attack deals 1 additional damage for each resource icon discarded this way. Alright, so that would be her entire deck. Next is going to be every character has an obligation. I believe Scarlet Witch had 2 of them. This will get shuffled into the villain deck or the nemesis deck or whatever you want to call it. I can't think of it right now. The encounter deck, however you want to put it. But if this comes up, you're going to have to deal with it. Hers is Memories of Armageddon. It is an obligation. You got to give it to her when it comes into play. Treat your identity's printed text box as if it were blank, except for traits. As an alter ego action, exhaust your identity to discard Memories of Armageddon. So, she'll have to deal with that. And then next is going to be her arch nemesis. It even says Domino's nemesis. There's going to be 5 cards here. Shadows of the Past, Mysterio, and there was, I want to say I did find a 3rd way to put some into play, but this will be off to the side just in case you hit one of those cards. And if you do, you're going to have to deal with this character as they show up. And hers is Topaz here. 3 hit points, 1 scheme, 2 attack. When revealed, search the encounter deck, discard pile, and set aside air for 1 copy of Superpower Feedback and attach it to your identity. And then next is going to be her side scheme, Not My Lucky Day. When revealed, each player must either take 1 damage or place 2 threat here. And it starts with 3 threat. And then the other cards will just are going to be just like, oh, actually, minion. Yeah, it should be minions. Minions and or treacheries. And they'll just get shuffled into the deck and going to make it, like I said, Topaz comes out with all the problems you're going to have to deal with her. And here's Prototype. Then we get that card he talked about, the super power feedback. That'll have to be pushed in or shuffle, or you'll bring it out. And there's 2 of those. Cool. That's everything with Domino. As of right now, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it. We'll see. I mean, it hits a lot of the lucky factors that I like to do in a lot of games. So we'll see if it tends to be. Let's see what Cable is all about. We should have some more player side schemes in this, since that's what they're introducing. And we got Cable here. 2 thwart, 2 attack, 2 defense. So right down the middle. Response: after Cable defeats a side scheme, ready him. Limit once per phase. So I'm assuming he's going to be built around the side schemes. Man, he starts with 12 hit points. Hand size 5. But I guess that makes sense, because really, if you don't have side schemes in play, he's not going to really do much. So they got to give him a little bit of something extra. So giving him hit points seems like a thing. And then, yeah, Nathan Summers. We have 4 recovery. That's pretty good, actually. You may include player side schemes from any aspect in your deck. So yeah, he's going to want to build around side schemes and bring them into play, and then hopefully you can take care of them. Soldier X: during setup, search your deck and discard pile for a player side scheme and put it into play. So he's going to start with a side scheme already in play. Yeah. Alright, we got his 15 cards, and this is not an ally, so, We got Body Slide here, 0 cost event, action, change form. Each other player may change to the form you are in. Okay. Mind Scan, 2 cost event, hero action, remove 3 threat from a scheme. This is a thwart. Remove 1 additional threat from that scheme for each side scheme in the victory display. Probably 3 of those if he's going to have to be able to get rid of threat. Precognition, 0 cost event. Hero action, look at the top X cards of the encounter deck, where X is the number of side schemes in the victory display. You may discard 1 of those cards, put the rest back in any order. 3 cost event, Telekinetic Blast. Hero action, attack, deal 6 damage to an enemy and deal an additional 1 damage to that enemy for each side scheme in a victory display. So that could be a hard hitter. We have a player side scheme here, Technovirus Purge. Victory 0. Characters other than Cable cannot remove threat from Technovirus Purge. While Technovirus Purge is in the victory display, Nathan Summers and Cable gain the Sonic trait, and Cable gets +1 thwart, +1 attack, and +1 defense. Okay. 5, but I mean, can beef him up. Graymalkin, 2 cost support. Response: after a side scheme is defeated, ready Graymalkin. Resource: exhaust Graymalkin. Generate a wild resource. Professor, 1 cost support, alter ego action, exhaust Professor, choose to either draw 1 card or search your deck and discard pile for a player side scheme and add it to your hand. Ascani Sun, 1 cost upgrade, hero response thwart, after you defend against an enemy attack, exhaust Ascani Sun and spend a wild resource, remove threat from a scheme equal to your hero's thwart. Forced Amnesia, 1 cost upgrade. Hero response: after a non-permanent side scheme is defeated, add Forced Amnesia and that side scheme to the victory display. Plasma Rifle, 2 cost upgrade. Restricted, hero action. Attack, exhaust Plasma Rifle and spend a wild energy resource. Deal 1 damage to an enemy for each side scheme in the victory display. This attack gains ranged. Telekinetic Force Field. 2 cost upgrade. Hero form only. Hero interrupt. When a friendly character would take any amount of damage, discard telekinetic force field. Prevent all of that damage. Two cost upgrade. Temporal leap. Hero interrupt. When the main scheme would be completed, remove the scheme from the game and put a side scheme from the victory display into play. Remove 4 threat from the main scheme to that side scheme. Alright, we got some leadership cards here. We got a new ally here, Caliban. 3 cost ally for 3 hit points, 1 thwart, 2 attack with 1 consequence star each. As a response, after Caliban enters play, discard cards to the top of your deck till an X Factor, X Force, or X-Men ally is discarded. Add that ally to your hand. I'm about to say we saw him earlier in the pictures. Here he is, Phantom X. 4 cost ally for 3 hit points, 1 thwart, 1 attack with 1 consequence star each. As a response, after Phantom X enters play, search your deck and discard pile for the EVA and put it into play. So I'm assuming we're going to see the EVA in here somewhere. Probably a basic, I'm assuming. Alright, Sunspot. 3 cost, ally, 2 hit points, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 1 consequence star each. As a response, after you play Sunspot from your hand, choose a player, deal 1 damage to the villain, and each minion engaged with the chosen player for each energy resource used to pay for Sunset. So that could be good. Mission Planning, 2 cost event. Play only if there's a side scheme in the victory display. As a hero action until the end of the phase, allies you control do not take consequential damage. Interesting. 3 of those. Call for backup. We already saw this one in the rulebook, actually. Player's side scheme. Oh, I should have noticed leadership. So I should have figured one of them were going to be leadership now to think of it. Victory 0. When defeated, each player may search their deck and discard pile for an ally and put it into play. That's pretty good. I like that one a lot. Man, even if I don't play this as a deck, I kind of want to put that in my leadership deck. I mean 3 threat per player, but I mean, if you could put a 6 cost ally into play or go get an ally that could just really help you at the moment, it seems pretty good. Well, it said he could have different aspect of player side schemes in there, and here's one. Lock and load. Victory 0. When defeated, each player may search their deck and discard pile for a weapon upgrade with a cost of 3 or less and put it into play. I'm about to say, we're probably going to see a protection one. Establish perimeter. We got armor in the picture there. When defeated, give each identity a tough status card. Okay. I was wrong. It's not a basic. 0 cost support. If Phantom X is not in play, discard EVA. Action, exhaust EVA. Choose, remove 1 threat from a scheme. Deal 1 damage to an enemy. Heal 1 damage from Phantom X. The Uncanny X-Force. 2 cost support. Play under any player's control. Max 1 team card per player. If each of your characters has the X-Force trait, each ally you control gets +1 thwart. It takes -1 consequential damage after thwarting a side scheme. So probably 3 of those. Mission Leader. 2 cost upgrade. Reduce the cost to play Mission Leader by 1 if your identity has a soldier trait. Hero response. After a side scheme is defeated, exhaust Mission Leader. Each player draws 1 card. Only 1 of those. Well, people have been waiting for it. Here it is. I mean, they want the hero, which I think is coming. Well, here's the ally. Here we go. We got Deadpool. 3 cost ally, 3 hit points. He is a basic, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 1 consequence star each. Forced to interrupt when Deadpool would be defeated by consequential damage. Heal 3 damage from him instead. Add an acceleration token to the main scheme. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, you have him back and you're going to, well, I guess really one acceleration. Now you're just canceling out one of those turns, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one. There we go. Deathlock. 4 cost ally, 3 hit points, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 1 consequence star each. Hero response. After Deathlock enters play, choose an upgrade in any player's discard pile with a cost of 1 or less that can be attached to Deathlock. Attach that upgrade to Deathlock. Frenemies, 1 cost event. Team up, Cable and Deadpool. 1 per deck. Hero action thwart. Deal 1 damage each to Cable and Deadpool. Remove 3 threat from a scheme and 3 threat from a different scheme. 1 cost player side scheme. Build support. Victory 0. When defeated, each player may search their deck and discard pile for a support with a cost of 3 or less and put it into play. Alright, we got a new basic one here. The Power of the Mind. Resource. Double the number of resources this card generates while paying for a psionic card. Which I did notice a lot of these did have psionic in his deck. So... Two cost upgrade. Restricted. Psionic weapon. Hero response, attack after you play another Sonic card, exhaust Scimitar to deal 2 damage to an enemy. Sidearm, 1 cost upgrade, attached to an ally, max 1 per ally. Attached ally gets +1 attack, and its attack gain ranged. Alright, we got the obligation here for Cable, Technovirus Resurgence. When revealed, search your discard pile, hand, and victory display for Technovirus Purge and put it into play. Attach the card to Technovirus Purge. If you cannot, discard this card and deal yourself 1 face down encounter card. Then we get Strife as Cable's nemesis. Makes sense. 2 scheme, 2 attack, 5 hit points. Villainous. Forced interrupt. When a player plays a Sonic event, cancel the events of that event and deal 1 damage to Strife. Back to the Future. Side scheme. The Cable player cannot remove threat from schemes other than Back to the Future. Other players cannot remove threat from Back to the Future. The Cable player cannot damage enemies and not engage with them. Other players cannot damage minions engaged with the Cable player. And then Telekinetic Force Field. And Mind Scan, and Telekinetic Blast. Cool. Alright, I know that was a long one. I'll try to cut out as much as I can. I am anxious to get these sleeved up. Like I said, I'm going to sleeve them up, play them unchanged, see how they play against the first encounter here. I mean, I'm not going to play like the scenario, so I'm not going to have the extra stuff. But it will be the Morlock Siege scenario, which is against, yep, all the villains, so we'll see how that works out. So if you're interested in that, check out that video. And I played pretty much all the other characters, so if there's other characters you're interested in and you want to see how they play and see what their deck looks like, I have an unboxing for each hero deck that I think I've done them all except for maybe the first 2. And I do want to go back and do those. And I have a playthrough. It was Rhino, now it's Sabretooth, and now it's going to be the Morlocks for this whole little thing. But for the most part, check those out if you're interested. I do like this game a lot. Did not make my top 10, but it did get into, I want to say it was number 11. I'm almost positive it was number 11. It was just right there. I love this game a lot. There's just other games I like a lot more, I guess. But I do love this game. This is a great game. I always recommend it to anybody who likes deck building. This was a magic killer for me. I'd rather just deck build with this. I know a lot of people want to make it to where it's versus. I like the co-op nature. I like the way it works. I like the way you can randomize everything in this deck, in this game. But either way, this video is long enough. I don't need to ramble on more about that. You can go check out my It was in the 11 through 25 top 100 video where I did a collab with Jammin' Outdoors, Brian Absher, and yeah, I talk a lot about it there because he plays that game too. But video's long enough. Check out the playthrough if you're interested, and we'll get it all going. I'm gonna go do something with my voice and then start those playthroughs. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.